Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1, Joanne Davey. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. And during this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Driver Charles Jakeman Vanderwolf. Charles Vanderwolf was born on the 25th of June 1892 near the town of Kilgarvan, west of Gympie in Queensland, the third of 11 children born to Charles and Ellen Vanderwolf. Young Vanderwolf attended school at Polmaley and later lived and worked as a farmer near Miriamvale. Vanderwolf enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 8th of December 1914. Less than 2 months later, he sailed from Melbourne aboard the transport ship SS Hessen as part of the reinforcements of the 3rd Field Artillery Brigade. He was one of 2 Vanderwolf brothers to serve for Australia in the First World War. His younger brother Harry enlisted in August 1915 and served in the 47th Battalion on the Western Front. He received a gunshot wound at Passchendaele in October 1917 and was later sent home. Charles Vanderwolf landed in Egypt in early 1915 and after a brief period in hospital joined the 3rd Field Artillery Brigade as they were providing supporting fire to Allied positions on Gallipoli. In August 1915, Vanderwolf was evacuated from Gallipoli with synovitis, a painful swelling of the ankle, and was sent first to hospital in Malta and later to England for recovery. In February 1916, he embarked from England to return to Egypt. The Gallipoli campaign was over, but Vanderwolf was in Egypt for a period known as the doubling of the AIF, in which Australian units were expanded, created and reorganised for the fight on the Western Front and in Palestine. Vanderwolf joined the 3rd Brigade Ammunition Column at Tel El Kabir near Cairo, and in March sailed from Alexandria for Marseille in France and the war on the Western Front. In May 1916, he joined the 1st Divisional Artillery Column in France. In this unit, he supported artillery operations during the Western Front battles in France and Belgium, including the bloody battles of Pozières, Menin Road, Bruncinder and Passchendaele. The role was a gruelling and dangerous one, and members of the unit often came under enemy fire while performing their duties. Vanderwolf distinguished himself throughout his service. In February 1918, he was promoted to the rank of bombardier, and in April and August 1918 served as temporary corporal. In October 1918, he requested to revert to the rank of driver, and he remained at this rank for the rest of his service. Soldiers fighting on the Western Front in the First World War faced many dangers in battle, but many also fell victim to disease, particularly the devastating influenza epidemic of 1918. Towards the end of the war, Vanderwolf was taken ill with a chest complaint and evacuated to England for recovery. He died of influenza and pneumonia on the 12th of November 1918, one day after the signing of the armistice that brought the First World War to an end. He was buried with full military honours in Sutton Veney St John Churchyard in Wiltshire, England, where 143 Australians of the Great War now lie. He was 26 years old. Driver Charles Jakeman Vanderwolf's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Driver Charles Jakeman Vanderwolf, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.